Okay. Okay. Sound aura. Yeah, so we are starting from scratch right now. I'm using my Shure. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to. Very quiet. Okay. Uh, okay, how about now? How does it sound now? How does it sound now? That is me with the. Okay. This is the interface turned up almost all the way. Okay, how about there? Okay, so right now it's turned up like 90%. Maybe like close to 95%. Oh, hold on. What happened to my background? Not that I need a background for this stream really, but okay. So how does this right here sound different than this? Because that was line and this is instrument. So this right here is line. This right here is instrument. Can anybody detect any difference? I'll do it again. Line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Instrument 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How does that sound? Was there any difference that anybody could detect? One person says instrument sounds more clear. So this is again line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is instrument 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let me try to talk a little bit more quietly from now on, because this is how I'm going to want to talk in videos and streams. I feel like one thing that's happened over the last several months is that I've talked louder because I've wanted the microphone to pick me up clearly, but I should not have to do that with this. All right, so one person says it sounds exactly the same. One person says they think instrument sounds more clear. So let's see here. All right, so it seems like it doesn't change anything all that much. I'll bet that's for like if you make music. I'll bet there's a difference if you're making like really, really fine-tuned music. So this is the distance that you're supposed to have between you and the microphone. So if I go like this, I think that's exactly right. Okay. So now let's test the desktop audio real quick because this is a new computer as well. I'm going to play some audio on my computer, and you guys let me know if you can hear it.
To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Rick and Morty. The humor is extremely subtle, and without a solid grasp of theoretical physics most of the jokes will go over a typical viewer's head. There's also Rick's nihilistic outlook, which is deftly woven into his characterization. His personal philosophy draws heavily from Narodnaya literature, for instance.
Okay, that is
The
minus
fans
10
understand
dB.
this stuff, they have the intellectual capacity to truly appreciate the depths of these jokes, to realize that they're not just funny, they say something deep about life. As a consequence, people who dislike Rick and Morty truly are idiots, of course they wouldn't appreciate. For instance,
so can you
the
guys
humor
hear the
in
video
Rick's
right
existential catchphrase "wubba lubba dub dub," which itself is a cryptic reference to Turgenev's Russian epic Fathers and Sons. I'm smirking right now just imagining one of those dulpated simpletons scratching their heads in confusion as Dan Harmon's genius unfolds itself on their television screens. What fools!
You know what's really
How
nice?
I pity
you can't
them.
even see the microphone.
And
for the
yes,
most
by
part.
the way, I do have a Rick and Morty tattoo.
Excuse me, because
and
of
no,
the camera angle.
You cannot see it. It's for the ladies' eyes only, and even they have to be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Rick and Morty. The humor is extremely subtle, and without a solid grasp of theoretical physics most of the jokes will go over a typical viewer's head. There's also Rick's nihilistic outlook, which is deftly woven into his characterization. His personal philosophy draws heavily from Narodnaya literature, for instance. The fans understand this stuff, they have the intellectual capacity to truly appreciate the depths of these jokes, to realize that they're not just funny, they say something deep about life. As a consequence, people who dislike Rick and Morty truly are idiots, of course they wouldn't appreciate. For instance, the humor in Rick's existential catchphrase "wubba lubba dub dub," which itself is a cryptic reference to Turgenev's Russian epic Fathers and Sons. I'm smirking right now just imagining one of those dulpated simpletons scratching their heads in confusion as Dan Harmon's genius unfolds itself on their television screens.
So,
what fools!
I also have
how I pity them.
The control panel
and
for
yes,
the
by the way, I do have a Rick and Morty
I don't know if
tattoo.
anybody knows enough about audio to know about this thing.
You cannot see it.
It says hardware
it's for
not
the ladies'
connected
eyes only,
on the...
and even they have to demonstrate that they're within 5. Let
me go ahead and turn that off now. It says hardware not connected on the driver control panel, which is very strange because I have to be connected or else you guys couldn't hear me. Can you hear me, Brendan? Well, I can see you, Raven. The concern for this stream, though, is can people hear me? How do I sound? Is there anything I need to be doing here? So this switch, I believe, turns off everything. So now you guys know it. So apparently when you turn the M track off, it still has power for a couple of seconds. And then when you turn it on, it still has power for a couple of... It still doesn't have power for a couple seconds. Make sense? Yeah, snacks. Basically, there's a 48-volt switch on the front of my interface. And I turned it off, and it had power for about 3 seconds, but it was fading. And then when I turned it back on, it kind of took a second to come to life. So therefore, I guess this switch is not like it's not like a light switch, right? Where it just goes on and then off, on and then off. 48 volts, though, that's no joke. And I believe all of that power is being pulled from my computer. So hopefully that doesn't cause problems for me later. I don't think it will. My power supply is an 850 watt one. I'd be very surprised if that was actually a problem for me. Sounds fine. Okay. So, kind of interface. It is an M Audio M-Track Duo HD. One thing I will say is that obviously, according to multiple people in the chat, it sounds totally fine right now. But I have to turn it almost all the way up to get it to here. So if it were any weaker, it would not be enough. Because it's at about 90% right now of max. So it does not have a lot of room to get to this point. Okay, now what I want to do is test some background sounds. So let me know if you guys can hear this for the next 10 seconds. Okay, did you guys hear anything just now? Because I was spamming my keyboard and mouse, which, by the way, are both brand new and very loud, which are right next to the microphone. So if you guys couldn't hear anything, that means it's not picking up my keyboard and it's not picking up my mouse. Now, what if I do that while I'm talking like I am right now? Can you guys hear my keyboard? Can you guys hear my mouse? Because it is being used while I am talking. Can you guys hear anything going on other than just my voice? Can you guys hear the keyboard clicking at all? Okay, I'm getting multiple. Okay. We've got some people saying yes. We got some people saying no. Now, I'm not surprised if the answer is yes, to be clear. I think that it is completely understandable that some people would pick it up and some people wouldn't. So that's fine. I'm not really too upset about that. Now, okay, let's test distance here because obviously one thing, I don't want this thing to pick up a lot of stuff in the background. So you guys can hear me right now, right? So let me know if you guys can hear me now. How well can you guys hear me now? How do I sound at this point in time? Obviously, you still should be able to hear me. There should be a difference in the volume. So how do I sound now relative to how I sounded when I was actually sitting close to the computer? Can hear about a 33% dip. Okay, so what if I go back here? Anybody still hear me? Anybody still hear me? Right? I go longer distance microphone than I would have any, but still not as far away as some background. Okay, so said barely. Barely here. That is very choppy. That makes sense far away. So now I'm all the way at my door. You guys can probably not hear me at all or barely hear me. Okay, so that is great news. You guys couldn't really hear me when I was back there, and I was not that far away. So that means this microphone is only picking things up that I would want it to pick up. Now, let me ask something. A couple of people said that when I was far away, I sounded choppy. Does it sound at all choppy when I'm close to it, like right now? Is there any issue with cutting in and out right now? Because that would be a big problem and I need to take care of it now. Just fine? Okay, cool. Very cool. I like that very much. That is great news, people. Is it a uni or an omni? How would I check that? If you're talking about the microphone, it's the Shure, hold on, let me make sure I get this right here. Shure SM7DB. I don't know if that is uni or omni. All right. Let's see. Okay, so there's one other setting on the output here. Excuse me. So I'm looking at the output switch right now, and there are 3 options on the output. There is direct mono, there is direct stereo, and USB. So let me test that real quick. So everybody, listen up for a second. Right now, it is on direct stereo. So this is me on direct stereo. And let me make sure I have everything on screen that I need to make this judgment. Okay, so direct stereo, and this is direct mono. This is direct mono. Was there any difference between this direct mono, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that direct stereo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? What does it change is what I would ask, because I actually don't know. I know that mono means singular, so maybe it's coming out of one place, and stereo, it comes out of multiple places. So I'm guessing stereo is better. But it sounds like people like stereo. Okay, so there's a third setting here as well called USB. So let me try that right now. Okay, so this is USB. Is there any meaningful difference? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. USB. Mono is taking both tracks and converting it into one. Huh. Okay. Okay, so this is USB right here. USB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Direct stereo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Direct mono 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Seems like people think stereo is better, but it doesn't seem like there's a huge difference no matter what. It seems like it's pretty insignificant in the big picture. Definitely better. Mono is terrible. Maybe it also depends on our side. That's true, but I want to get a variety of takes. Some people listen to me on a phone. Some people listen to me on a computer. Some people listen to me with headsets. Some people don't. So maybe it is out of my control. Okay, right now it is on stereo. Stereo is where I am. I don't know what USB means, but it has a USB option. Right now I am on USB, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Direct stereo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now let me take port profile. Here, down arrow import. I have speakers, so stereo rocks. Okay. Seems like everybody likes stereo, so we are going to go with that. I think that's probably a good idea. Okay. So now let's test my Stream Deck here. So I'm going to play some of the audio clips off my Stream Deck now. Here's the first one. Let me know how it sounds. Wait. Oh, I'm going to have to link those up with the clips. I'm going to have to link those up with the audio clips. I can't just import the profile. So that is going to take a little bit of time here. Let me do it for one. Let me just try to do it for one. So I'm just going to do it for one, and then we'll test it just to get a feel for how it sounds. So okay, I think that any interest in streaming Prime 4 at any point? Are you talking about Metroid Prime 4? I've been streaming it on Twitch. I just haven't done it in like a week because, one, I don't think the game is very good, but mostly I've been busy. Wait a minute. Why is my Stream Deck not... Oh, it didn't default. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Let's see if this works.
Banned. Gone. Forever. Banned.
How did that sound?
Gone. Forever.
Sounded fine. I can boost the volume for the individual clips. If it needs to be louder or quieter, I can do that.
Banned, 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 banned. Gone. Forever.
Okay, that's interesting because OBS is actually telling me it's way quieter than my voice, but I guess that's kind of what you want, right? You don't want the soundboard clip to override your own voice. It is quieter than you, which is good. Yeah, I guess when you think about it, that makes sense. That does make a good deal of sense. Okay, so let's see. Let's say I talk like this. Do I still sound okay? If you were to watch a 20-minute long, or let's say a 15-minute long video of me talking at this volume, okay, I'm trying to relax my voice a little bit. I'm trying to like speak a little bit more in a way that I don't think will be taxing on my voice. Is this good, or should I turn it up a little bit? To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Rick and Morty. The humor is extremely subtle, and without a solid grasp of theoretical physics, the jokes will go over a typical viewer's head. All right, it seems fine. Okay. So I'm looking at OBS. It's telling me that it's getting up to basically not quite halfway up to the yellow. Maybe about halfway up the yellow, but not quite. And I think that that is actually looking... there are some points where it just barely gets to the yellow. And it doesn't seem like people have a problem. Let me boost it just a tiny bit here. Let me take it up there. Man, that actually does a lot. I'm talking pretty quietly right now. I'm pretty composed. And it's almost getting up to the red. So let's take it down a little bit here. Now it's just barely getting up to the yellow. I think that's probably about where you want to be. Okay, so people seem to be thinking that this sounds okay. Let's see if we can find like that perfect... And you're never really going to get it perfect because people don't talk with the exact same tenor at all times. Test yourself at your loudest at some point. I mean, I don't ever really yell in my videos. I don't ever really get loud like this unless I get really, really agitated, which honestly on video does not happen very often. But if I talk like this right now, I can get it all the way up to the red, just barely. But really, that doesn't happen very often. More likely, I'm going to be talking like this. And according to my OBS, that's getting into the yellow, but it's never breaking into the red. Sometimes it's like right near the bottom of, or the very, very start of the yellow. Okay. Sounds pretty good. All right. So I think that we are probably in some pretty good shape here with it right there. Now, I do have a control panel for my M track, but for some reason, it's telling me hardware not connected, which is obviously not true, and it doesn't allow me to change the sample rate. The only thing I can do is change the preferred buffer size. Does anyone know what preferred buffer size would be as it pertains to an audio interface? You can put a limiter on your mic so it doesn't go past a certain level. Really interesting. Okay. I'll have to look into that. I can't speak to that at this point in time, but that is pretty interesting. All right. So I think that, basically this thing is pretty consistently getting halfway to the yellow in OBS. And I think that's where we want to be. I don't think we need to get to the red. I think that's probably a bad sign if you're getting to the red. So right here, I have not been able to really get it to the red at all. unless I get agitated intentionally, and that does not happen very often in my videos. Thank you, CK9. But here's my question. If I were to put a limiter on my microphone, would it then create an issue where it makes me choppy? Yes, preferred buffer is a limiter that you can put on to keep dB below a certain level. So right now it says that my preferred buffer size is 256. So right now it's 256 and I'm pretty happy. I just took it up to 1024. Did that change anything? Did that change anything? Did that change anything? Still not getting to the red. 2048, still not seeing it get super loud. But when I talk normal, it doesn't seem like anything really changes with the bigger buffer size. So now we take it back to about 256, which is where it was initially. 256 right now. I don't know if that made any kind of a difference whatsoever. It's clear? Okay. So right now, the preferred buffer size is 256. Right now, 256. Right now, 1,000. Right now, 2,000. So it seems like people are trying to tell me that 256 is best. See calm, see clearly. Thank you for the $2 super chat. It sounds loud. Don't overthink it. Yeah, we're trying to get this just right. It did make a difference when loud. Ah, okay. So we're going to go with 256. For some reason, the control panel will not let me change the sample rate, but I'm not really going to worry too much about the sample rate right now. I don't think it'll make a big difference. Now, in OBS, looking at the audio tab, I may end up playing around in here at some point. I had to turn you down, that's how loud you are? Do you mean right this very instant, be calm, see clearly? Like right now I'm louder than I typically am? That is surprising to me because OBS is telling me I'm about the same volume. Like right now it's getting about halfway up the yellow in OBS, which I think is standard. All right, so my sample rate right now is 48 kilohertz. I may play with that later. Let's see, my decay rate is fast. My peak meter type is sample peak. I'm going to have to mess around with this stuff at some point, but the thing is, you can't change these settings and have them kick in until you go to, until you turn off the stream, pull OBS, and then reopen it. All right. You sound great? Okay. Would you guys say that I sound noticeably better than I did in my previous videos? Would you guys say that this is an upgrade auditorial? Even if it's not a huge one, that's fine. But do you think the improved sound shows up in some way, shape, or form compared to what I had before with the Yeti Nano? Okay. Let me see here. It sounds more micy to me. Okay, your voice sounds fuller and has slightly more bass, smoother, better mids, better bass, more clear. Yeah. I don't think Yeti mics suck. They're just not as good as the best mics. Clearly. Okay. Now, one last question. I have my little fan right here. I have a little fan right here. Can anybody hear it? I'm going to say nothing for a second here. Can you guys hear my fan? Okay, cool. If it can't hear my fan, then I think we are in probably pretty good shape here. If there's anything else that need be done at this point, it can be done in OBS because there are very few options on my interface. So I don't think any of this stuff is really going to matter all that much. The only settings here are line versus instrument. And by the way, to anybody in the chat who may or may not know things about audio, what is the difference between line and instrument? Because I'm in instrument right now, but I can do this, and now it is line. So this is line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that is instrument 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A couple people told me instrument sounded a little bit better, but I don't know. I don't even know what that really means. Okay, so this is instrument right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know what the difference is, by the way, to be clear. This is not something that I'm terribly informed on. I do not know what the distinction is. Really, a couple people are now saying that line is better. So yeah, I'm in line right now. I see what you wrote, Snacks. Thank you. So a lower number is probably somewhat desirable. Line. Okay, I've now had 3 people say line is better unless your mic uses phantom power. Now there is one more thing to consider here. On the butt end of my microphone, I have preamp. I can turn on also mess with some other things down on the butt end of the microphone as well. But if people are telling me that I sound totally great right now, I don't think there's any burning need for me to mess around with anything else. So yeah, we're in line mode now. That's interesting. I was in instrument mode for like the last, I'd say at least 20 minutes. And now people are saying that line is actually better. So I'm in line now. And people are saying it sounds even better. So we might go ahead and go with that. Line seems to cut some of the lows a little bit, which helps even it out and make it sound smoother. Very interesting. Okay, so now we are in line mode and people are saying that is better. Now, again, there are a few things on the butt end of the microphone. Like I can turn the preamp up. I can go to bypass. I can turn on bypass. And then it has a couple other switches on the back. And I don't know what they are even trying to tell me they do. So maybe there's some tiny, slightly better thing I could do here. But I think we're in good shape. And I want to watch the second half of this game anyway. Now, just for the sake of argument, how do I sound if I do this? If I put my microphone right up to our mouth right up to my microphone, is this like bad? Is this bad? Because normally I plan on sitting like this. I don't think I'll ever get that close to the microphone, but right now this is kind of like the normal. This is where I want to sit. But okay, yeah, people are saying that if I get too close, it sounds like garbage. So I need to stay like this. All right, very nice. So yeah, can't get too close. So I think my distance is good because the distance is like this. And I also really like the fact that nobody can see my microphone. Nobody can see my microphone. You can see a little bit of my stand, which is irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. Okay. I can't think of really anything else to do. I think everything works. The computer works. I know that. You want to use line for streaming your voice, but if you're a musician, you want the instrument. There's technical issues for the Ys, but go with line. Makes sense. So line is good for voice. Very nice. Okay. So I am going to go ahead and I think just get on out of here. I don't think we're going to do any better than this, and I think we're in really good shape. So you could boost the signal and move the mic further. You could boost the signal and move the mic further. That's true, but I think this is probably fine. Yeah, right up to it, it's bad. I guess that makes sense, right? It's supposed to be an advanced piece of machinery, which means you would expect it to be a little bit. The issue will be, and I'm going to have to do something about this when I stream while watching TV. When I go like this to get a better view of the TV, then I'm guessing my mouth is too close to the microphone here. So I need to, when I'm streaming a game, kind of adjust it so that it's the right distance from me when I'm like this. Okay, but like, what about this? Because this actually gives me the best view of the TV because my TV is not super well positioned. It's a suboptimal setup. I cannot lie. Luckily, this isn't going to matter until Huskies games start next year. So I have a ton of time to figure this out, but I'm guessing this does not sound very good. And if nothing else, I look ridiculous. Slightly quieter. Okay, that surprises me. But either way, it does illustrate the issue I'm going to have if I want to keep doing watch-alongs of Huskies games. Snacks, if you're still in the chat, by the way, what are your plans for tonight? Are you going to bed soon? I am Larry. Good for you, Michael. Oh, really? Some people are saying it still sounded more or less fine. It was just I can't go like this. And like this is me when I'm playing a video game in all likelihood. This should work. I don't think anything's going to get in my way here. Maybe I go like this, so that way the arm doesn't impede my vision at all. And I think we're good. Okay, guys. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Go Hawks. And yeah, from now on, all my videos and streams should have this setup right here. This microphone. I know the webcam hasn't changed, but we're in good shape. All right, everyone have a good rest of your day.